The Adventures of Sparky the Magical Cat. Chapter 1. The Park. Sparky loved to spend his afternoons in the park, basking in the sun, and watching the people go by. One sunny day, he was lounging on a park bench when he heard the sound of someone crying. Curious, Sparky went to investigate and found a young boy being bullied by a group of older kids. The boy was huddled in a corner, trying to protect himself from their taunts and punches. Sparky knew he couldn't let this go on. He approached the bullies, his fur bristling with anger, and demanded that they leave the boy alone. The bullies were taken aback by Sparky's sudden appearance and the fierce look in his eyes, but they didn't back down. Instead, they laughed at Sparky and taunted him, calling him a fraidy cat. Sparky was not afraid, though. He knew he had to stand up for the boy, even if it meant getting hurt himself. With a flick of his tail, he used his magical powers to summon a gust of wind that knocked the bullies off their feet. They were shocked and frightened by the sudden display of power and quickly scattered, running away as fast as they could. The boy was amazed by Sparky's bravery and knew that he had found a true friend. Sparky showed the boy some of his tricks, including his ability to fly, and the boy was in awe. Sparky knew he had made a difference in the boy's life, and he was glad to have made a new friend. As they sat together in the park, Sparky taught the boy how to be brave and stand up for himself. The boy listened carefully, taking in every word, and promised to always remember Sparky's lessons. With a smile, Sparky flew into the sky, his fur shimmering in the sun, ready for his next adventure. Chapter 2. The Forest. One day, Sparky decided to explore the nearby forest. As he walked along the winding path, he noticed a group of animals huddled together, looking scared and worried. Sparky approached them and asked what was wrong. The animals told him that a group of hunters had been spotted in the forest, and they were afraid for their lives. Sparky knew he had to do something to protect the animals. With a determined look in his eyes, he used his magical powers to create an illusion of a giant monster in the woods, hoping to scare the hunters away. The hunters, who had been searching for their prey, were startled by the sight of the monster and quickly fled the area. The animals were amazed by Sparky's bravery and thanked him for saving their lives. They invited him to a feast in his honor, where they offered him their finest foods and drinks. Sparky was happy to have made new friends, but he knew that he had to keep moving and exploring new places. As he continued through the forest, Sparky heard the sound of someone crying. Curious, he followed the sound until he came across a young fawn who had become separated from its mother. The fawn was frightened and alone, and Sparky knew he had to help. With a gentle touch, Sparky used his magical powers to create a glowing trail that led the fawn back to its mother. The fawn was reunited with its mother, and they both looked at Sparky with grateful eyes. Sparky smiled to himself, knowing that he had made a difference in the lives of these forest creatures. As he made his way back home, he looked forward to his next adventure and the new friends he would meet along the way. Chapter 3. The Beach. One hot summer day, Sparky decided to take a trip to the beach. He had never been to the beach before and was excited to see the ocean and all the different creatures that lived there. As he walked along the sandy shore, he noticed a group of sea turtles struggling to get back into the water. They had been born on the beach and were trying to make their way to the ocean, but they kept getting stuck in the hot sand. Sparky knew he had to help the sea turtles. With a flick of his tail, he used his magical powers to create a path of cool, moist sand that led all the way to the water. The sea turtles were overjoyed and quickly made their way to the safety of the ocean. As Sparky watched the sea turtles swim away, he noticed a group of children playing in the water. One of the children, a young girl, was struggling to swim and was in danger of drowning. Sparky knew he had to act fast. With a leap and a spin, Sparky used his magical powers to create a water spout that lifted the girl out of the water and onto the shore. The girl was safe, and her parents were grateful to Sparky for saving her life. Sparky spent the rest of the day playing with the children on the beach, making sandcastles and playing fetch. As the sun began to set, Sparky knew it was time to head home. He looked back at the ocean, feeling grateful for the new friends he had made and the adventures he had experienced. As he walked away from the beach, Sparky felt content and happy. He knew that he had made a difference in the lives of the sea turtles and the young girl, and he felt proud of himself for being a true hero. Chapter 4. The City. One day, Sparky found himself in the heart of a bustling city. The streets were crowded with people and vehicles, and the buildings towered high above him. Sparky had never seen anything like it before, and was both excited and a little scared. As he explored the city, Sparky noticed a group of children playing in a park. They were laughing and having fun, but Sparky could see that one of the children, a young boy, was being left out. Sparky knew he had to help. With a flick of his tail, Sparky used his magical powers to create a ball made of light that he tossed towards the young boy. The boy caught the ball and smiled, feeling included and happy. As Sparky continued through the city, he noticed a woman struggling to carry a heavy load of groceries. She looked tired and in need of help. Sparky knew he had to do something. With a determined look in his eyes, Sparky used his magical powers to lift the heavy bags of groceries and carry them for the woman. She was surprised and grateful, and Sparky felt proud of himself for being able to help someone in need. As the day wore on, Sparky continued to explore the city, making new friends and helping those in need. He helped an elderly man cross the street. He cheered up a young girl who had lost her balloon. And he even helped a group of firefighters rescue a cat from a tree. As the sun began to set, and the city began to quiet down, Sparky knew it was time to head back home. He looked back at the city, feeling grateful for the new friends he had made and the adventures he had experienced. As he walked away from the city, Sparky felt proud of himself for being a true hero. He knew that even in the busiest of places, he could make a difference in the lives of others. Chapter 5. The Mountain. One day, Sparky found himself at the base of a large mountain. He had heard stories of the incredible views and adventures that awaited those who climbed it, and he knew he had to give it a try. As Sparky began to climb, he noticed a group of hikers struggling to make it up the steep trail. Some of them were tired and out of breath, and others had lost their way. Sparky knew he had to help. With a flick of his tail, Sparky used his magical powers to create a cool breeze that refreshed the hikers and gave them new energy. He also created a path of light that showed them the way up the mountain, guiding them safely towards the summit. As Sparky continued to climb, he noticed a bird's nest perched precariously on a branch near the top of the mountain. The mother bird was nowhere to be seen, and Sparky knew he had to help the baby birds. With a determined look in his eyes, Sparky used his magical powers to create a protective bubble around the nest, shielding it from the wind and any predators that might try to harm the babies. The mother bird soon returned and was grateful for Sparky's help. As Sparky reached the summit of the mountain, he was greeted by a stunning view of the surrounding countryside. He could see for miles in every direction, and the beauty of the natural world filled him with wonder and awe. As he sat there, taking in the view, Sparky realized that he had learned an important lesson. No matter how big or challenging a task might seem, he could always find a way to overcome it and help those in need. He felt proud of himself for being a true hero and making a difference in the lives of others. As the day came to a close and the sun began to set, Sparky began his descent down the mountain. He looked back at the summit, feeling grateful for the new friends he had made and the adventures he had experienced. As he walked away from the mountain, Sparky felt content and happy. He knew that he had faced a great challenge and come out stronger for it. And he felt proud of himself for being able to make a difference in the lives of others. Chapter 6. The Farm. One sunny afternoon, Sparky found himself on a beautiful farm. The fields were filled with tall grass and bright flowers, and the animals were grazing peacefully in the pastures. Sparky felt happy and content as he explored the farm. As he wandered around, Sparky noticed a group of chickens who were in danger. A hungry fox had managed to sneak into the chicken coop and was eyeing the helpless birds. Sparky knew he had to act fast. With a flick of his tail, Sparky used his magical powers to create a loud noise that startled the fox and caused him to run away. The chickens were safe, and they clucked happily, grateful for Sparky's intervention. As Sparky continued to explore the farm, he noticed a group of pigs who were wallowing in the mud. They looked content, but Sparky could see that they were getting too hot in the midday sun. Sparky knew he had to help. With a determined look in his eyes, Sparky used his magical powers to create a refreshing rain shower that cooled down the pigs and helped them feel comfortable. They went happily, grateful for Sparky's intervention. As the day wore on, Sparky met many of the other farm animals, including a playful goat, a curious cow, and a friendly sheep. He helped the animals with their chores, played games with them, and learned about their lives on the farm. As the sun began to set and the farm began to quiet down, Sparky knew it was time to head back home. He looked back at the farm, feeling grateful for the new friends he had made and the adventures he had experienced. As he walked away from the farm, Sparky felt content and happy. He knew that he had made a difference in the lives of the animals and had helped them feel safe and comfortable. He felt proud of himself for being a true hero and making a positive impact on the world around him. Chapter 7. The Castle. One day, Sparky found himself at the foot of a large and imposing castle. The castle had high walls, a moat filled with water, and a drawbridge that was raised up high. Sparky was curious about what was inside, so he decided to investigate. As he walked closer, he noticed that there were guards stationed at the gate who looked stern and forbidding. Sparky knew he needed a plan to get past them. With a flick of his tail, Sparky used his magical powers to create a diversion. He made a loud noise that startled the guards, causing them to turn their heads. While they were distracted, Sparky darted past them and ran inside the castle gates. Once inside, Sparky was amazed by what he saw. The castle was filled with beautiful paintings, statues, and other works of art. He explored the many rooms, corridors, and chambers, marveling at the grandeur and beauty of it all. As he wandered through the castle, Sparky noticed a young princess who was in trouble. She had been locked up in a tower by an evil sorcerer who wanted to use her as a bargaining chip to get the king to do his bidding. Sparky knew he had to help the princess, so he used his magical powers to create a rope made of light that reached all the way up to the tower. The princess was able to climb down the rope and escape from the tower, and she was grateful to Sparky for his help. As they made their way through the castle, Sparky and the princess encountered many challenges and obstacles. There were traps, guards, and other dangers at every turn, but Sparky used his quick wits and his magical powers to help them overcome each one. Finally, they reached the throne room, where the evil sorcerer was waiting for them. He was angry that Sparky had helped the princess escape and was determined to punish them both. But Sparky was not afraid. With a flick of his tail, he used his magical powers to create a force field that protected himself and the princess from the sorcerer's spells. The sorcerer was no match for Sparky's quick reflexes and clever tactics, and he was soon defeated. As they walked away from the castle, Sparky felt content and happy. He knew that he had saved the princess and helped defeat the evil sorcerer. He felt proud of himself for being a true hero and making a positive impact on the world around him. Chapter 8. Home. Sparky had been on many adventures and had seen many amazing places, but he always knew that there was no place like home. And so, he decided to return to his cozy little house in the quiet countryside. As he made his way back home, Sparky thought about all the things he missed while he was away. He missed the warm sunshine, the sound of birds singing in the trees, and the fresh scent of the flowers in his garden. When he arrived, Sparky was overjoyed to see that everything was just as he had left it. His house was still standing, and his garden was still blooming with beautiful flowers and lush green plants. Sparky spent his first few days at home lounging in the sun, napping on his favorite cushion, and watching the butterflies flit around his garden. But he soon realized that he had missed his friends too. And so, Sparky decided to invite all his animal friends over for a big party. He invited the squirrels, the rabbits, the birds, and even the occasional visiting deer. They all happily accepted his invitation and came over to his house to celebrate. Sparky had a wonderful time catching up with his friends, playing games, and sharing stories about his adventures. They all had a big feast with lots of delicious food, and Sparky even put on a magic show for everyone to enjoy. As the party came to an end, Sparky felt happy and content. He had been on many adventures, but he knew that home was where his heart truly belonged. He felt grateful for his cozy little house, his beautiful garden, and all of his wonderful animal friends. From that day on, Sparky continued to go on adventures and see new places, but he always made sure to return home to his peaceful little corner of the world. He knew that no matter where he went, he would always have a warm and welcoming home to come back to.